awesome. Cracking the code. How social media analytics can skyrocket your influence. Now, guys, I am in the journey. So I would not call myself an influencer yet. Or I would better say I'm like a big fish in a small pond. One of the things that I'm researching is how do we jump ponds and grow again? How do we jump ponds and grow again? Influential reach, all right? So that is kind of the space that I'm curious about, and that's why I am doing this research and sharing the journey of the research with you. Come along with me, all right? So we're gonna look at cracking the code, how social media analytics can skyrocket your influence. Guys, influence is huge. When we can fill, well, elections are won on this, and churches are filled with this. Events are successful when we can figure this thing out. Sales are made of this. We need to figure this thing out. So let's do that together, all right? So again, cracking the code, how social media metrics can skyrocket your influence. Now, my primary platform is TV. PSI TV has a Netflix-like channel presence on Roku, Amazon Fire, Vita TV. We also have created a channel on Apple TV. So we not only have our own channel where we put shows, we interview subject matter experts, make them the star, distribute their content to our TV audience, but we also build brand channels for other content creators. So we've put a channel out on Apple TV as well. But the thing is that although TV is my primary platform, it's not the only one, because I used to see myself in the TV business. Now I see myself in the influential reach business. Why? Because when my guests come on television, yes, it's nice to say they're on TV, but what they're really looking for is that their content gets distributed to as wide an audience as possible. That being said, and I understood the mission, I realized that's what they're really coming for. And so I needed to increase the influential reach, which means I'm paying attention to other platforms. And as I do that research, I'm sharing it here with you. So I hope you'll join me every week, every Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern, right here on YouTube Live, or watch it later. And let's do this. Let's build this influential reach together. So guys, yay, I did it. This is dated August 7th. This was yesterday. I don't know when you'll watch this, but this was yesterday at 5 p.m. I finally got accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, which means my channel is now monetized as of yesterday. Now, the value of this is not the money that I may or may not make in the future. That will be a bonus. It's not the reason, it's the result. The reason why this excites me is because it means that I met the requirements. I looked at the data and I met the requirements. And this is really what this conversation is about today. So this is a quote by Mark Twain. Most people use statistics the way a drunkard uses a lamppost, more for support than illumination. We see this all the time. You know, information can be twisted. When I was doing my paralegal studies, and you know, my son's a lawyer, so when I was doing my paralegal studies, one of the things that I realized as we looked at evidence, we had an exercise where we were to look at these documents and separate the fiction from the fact. Now, what a lot of lawyers will do is they will take the facts and they will spin it to match the narration of what they're presenting for their client. So what will happen in a lot of situations is that people take data and they spin it. But I'm going to propose a different way to approach data. Instead of using the data to support your argument, use the data to illuminate, to shed a light, to give you a path, lit the path of where you're going. This is a huge paradigm shift. It was for me, because in the past, when I had I had a YouTube channel that's at least 12 years old. And really, I just threw whatever videos I made up there. It didn't matter what it was. It could have been a diet video, an exercise video, a Bible study. It was just a smorgasbord of content. And I was just throwing it up there. YouTube was, you know, being free. It was just a free site to host my videos. And many of those videos I repurposed somewhere else. So I was just vomiting up on YouTube. I was just putting whatever there. I paid no attention to the platform, no attention to the policies and codes. I didn't care. I was just throwing stuff up there. But guess what happened? That channel hit 670 some subscribers, and I was stuck there for the longest. I was like, oh, it would be all of a sudden it became a wish to be monetized. Not so much for the money, again, guys, honestly, it's for what that means. Money will be a result for me, not a reason I do anything. You come and tell me, Trudy, do XYZ, here's $1 million. If I wasn't going to do XYZ in the first place, it does not matter that you're offering me $1 million. That's me. The $1 million for me will come as a result of me doing the thing, because I'm going to show up excellently and I'm going to do, I'm going to just stack the value. But anyway, coming back to my older channel, I was just throwing stuff up there. And then I was like, when I got to 677, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just a stone throw away from the 1,000 subscribers. So the wish came on my radar that that channel get monetized, but it never did. And I was getting so frustrated. It was just incrementally creeping along. Sometimes I'd lose subscribers, gain 1 or 2, lose 1 or 2. It was just crazy. I was looking at the data to support my information, not to illuminate it, but that changed. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Change your relationship with data. Change your relationship with data, because if you use the data to illuminate the path for you, to light the way, it will be different than when you're just looking at the data to support, to twist the information to make it work for you. One of the things that I learned in my paralegal classes, I was doing an exercise separating fact from fiction, was when you had a glass that had 50% content, somebody could say it was half empty, some could say it was half full. And just that spin would resonate with people as a lack mentality, scarcity. It only has half, 50%, or a positive outlook where, oh, wow, I'm 50% there, I'm almost there. So, but the fact is, it was 50% content. So when we use the data to illuminate the path versus to support a situation, you're going to have a different relationship with data. And data can, when we use social media metrics or data, we can truly begin to crack the code on influence and influential reach. So before, like I said, TV is my primary platform. And then I had a little bit of focus on Facebook. So my Facebook reach, and this is a little bit old, I'm higher now, but this was the one I grabbed some time ago. I have close to 30,000 followers on Facebook, but I have a reach, this is only in the last 28 days, of 82,000, almost 83,000 in reach, which means about 83,000 people will see my content. This is huge, because when my guests come to TV, and they are paying to be on TV, but when they come, it's not just for the ego trip of saying they're on TV. They're looking for this new audience. And so one of the things that I do to stack the value is I repurpose their TV content in different ways. So I take the audio out, push it out to 6 podcast platforms, but I also will post their show on my Facebook platform. So because the goal is to reach as many people as possible. But when I look at the data to illuminate the path, it really makes a big difference. The Bible has a lot to say about everything. And again, I believe the Bible is the infallible word of God. But even if you do not, scientists, especially archaeologists, use the Bible as at least a history book. So if you cannot receive it the way I receive it, I hope you can at least receive the Bible as a wisdom book. And what the Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 21, using the ESV translation, but test everything, hold fast to what is good. How does this apply to business, to our use of data to crack the code on social media? Guys, listen, everything, the Bible has something to say about everything. If you are in the space of marketing and you're running ads, you probably have heard about A/B testing. We need to test everything. When we put a post out there, does this thumbnail work better than that? Does this headline work better than that? Test everything. And then once you have found the winning ideas, you hold fast to what is good. This Bible is a guide for me, for my life, for my business. I cannot show up as Trudy in one way on Sunday, or, I believe the Sabbath is Saturday. We just worship on Sunday. Guys, that's a story for another day. But I cannot just be Trudy one way on a Sunday and another person when I show up to my business. I am who I am. And when I show up, you get all of me. So my faith does influence my business. And this is a wisdom nugget that I am using just to really illuminate this conversation about how we need to crack the code on the data metrics to really ramp up our influential reach. Oops, let's go back. Not sure what happened there. Okay, so every platform has its codes, guys. Every platform has its code. Facebook is completely different from YouTube, is different from IG. Instagram is different from TikTok, is different from LinkedIn. And I recently was contacted by someone who seems to have a handle on LinkedIn, and she, of course, is offering me her services. But I really need to focus on one thing or the other, because when I don't focus, whatever is not measured, what is not managed. And so I needed to just focus in. So I have a presence there, but that's not where I'm focusing. Right now, I'm focusing on YouTube. I had a social media manager. I wasn't particularly impressed by their efforts. So what I want to do right now is just get a handle on these things, and then I can turn it over to somebody to manage and maintain it. But this stuff excites me, guys. So this is not the stuff I would delegate. At least that's what I've realized. Any part of my business I love is where I will put my energy. The parts I'm not that good at or don't love, I will palm off. But the thing is that all these platforms have their own codes. They have their own codes. So when I was just throwing stuff up on YouTube, I was not looking at the data. What is YouTube looking for? What is it that's going to make me have influential reach on YouTube? But then I realized that if I did start looking at YouTube's metrics, that I could make some headway, because to get your channel monetized on YouTube means I have to hit certain metrics. So those metrics became my goalpost. They became my points. So I needed to get 1,000 subscribers, and then I needed to get 4,000 watch hours. The thing is that those gave me targets to hit. So you need to look at your data, not only in the past to support it, but what are the metrics you want? So they create targets, future targets for you to work toward. So at the most basic level, if you want to get influential reach, so if your church, for example, has the ability to seat 300 people, why wouldn't you want to work towards sitting 300 people? That's your capacity. So if you're regularly having 50 people in there, well, that's your data point for right now, but your goal is 300. Always use the data as a goal, so you work towards it, not just the history of the past. So elections are one on this, guys, because it's numbers that tell us who is the winner. It is the numbers that tell us how many tickets are sold. How many tickets means we've sold out the location. So though we do need to look at those metrics, data can truly light the way for us. And if you leave this video today and remember nothing else, I do want you to remember that you can use data to drive your plans, your decisions, rather than react to the data that happened by default. So the data that happened by default on YouTube for me was that I somehow managed to get 677 subscribers. And even though I had the watch hours, I didn't have them over the course of 365 days. So you have to have a handle. Get used to looking at your dashboard, understanding what that dashboard means and what it means for you going forward. So another thing that I want to share with you today is that not just that you need to watch your data, but the power of those media analytics. So one of the things on Facebook, for example, is a relevance score. Whereas on YouTube, the thing is that one of the ways to really get your videos viewed and everything is if YouTube suggests your videos. And they're very different because they're different platforms, like I was saying before, but they do kind of are similar in a certain way. So Facebook is going to show more people your content based on a relevance score, and YouTube is also going to look at, you know, whether or not they should be showing your video, and they're also looking at your metrics. So if you're looking to optimize your reach, especially your influential reach, you need to look at the data and see what is it that you need to change, tweak, test, and then keep what is working, because the data is platform specific. It is very platform specific. I have discovered that there are some things that have a broad general thing that works, but for the most part, these platforms are very specific in terms of how they work. My favorite example, to go back to, probably have Herbie said this one before, like even this video I'm creating right now, if I wanted to post it on Instagram, it won't work. The format of this is, it's too wide. It's not going to work. Instagram is going to chop the video at probably a spot that I don't want it to be chopped at. So everything is platform specific when it comes to these platforms, and you have to pick where do you want to have your reach and focus in there, because the bandwidth that is going to emotionally, socially, and physically drain you unless you have hired a team that and give each one their focus. That might be a good strategy, but if you're the one that's doing it, and for the most part, I have found that my audience tends to be coaches, authors, and business owners. And a lot of you business owners you're either solopreneurs or you have a very tiny team, which means a lot of us are wearing multiple hats. But in my case, one of the things that I figure out, where do I want to put my energy? And that's where you're going to see me show up. Everything else I'm willing to delegate. All right. But I love this. I love anything to do with video. I love it. Trudy loves video. I just love video. So some of you may know my history. I went to television before YouTube existed to bring my financial message, biblical financial message. And I love the TV space so much. I became a TV producer, now a TV host, and so forth. So I just love everything video. If it's video, it's going to catch my attention. So when it comes to YouTube, for YouTube to suggest your video, we have to, again, look at some data. This. All right. YouTube, and I'm researching this, guys, because again, I have shifted. TV is my primary platform. Facebook got my attention for some time. Now that I've hit this 30,000 and 80,000 reach, I'm kind of, all right, now I think kind of have that rhythm. Now I can shift my attention to YouTube, but YouTube is going to suggest videos based on 3 things. Now, it is algorithmically selected, but there are 4 video features that YouTube is looking at, and they're looking at related videos. Now, one of the strategies that some of you may be using is you look at your competitors and you see what's working for them and then try to emulate that. That would make your video probably similar to theirs, and YouTube may rank you or put you beside and suggest your video based on that. I haven't quite been doing that yet because the few people that are in TV that are on YouTube, they're not, I don't see them as my competitors. They're there. And I've looked at them to know that they're not really an issue for me right now. So my competition, if there is one, which I don't really see competition, I see a blue ocean because of the way that I have uniquely positioned my business. So I really don't focus on competition in the true sense of the word, but I will look at other providers of similar opportunities. And then, how are they doing? Are there any ideas I can pull from that? But that's one way. If your video is similar to others, then you might get suggested that way. Another is based on the viewer. So if you're getting views and likes and comments, YouTube's going to see that is something that's hot and happening, and they're going to suggest you as well. But when it comes to Facebook, that relevance score I was talking about before, So the relevance score is how Facebook decides what they're going to show to people, because some of you may have already realized that no matter how many friends you have on Facebook, they're not all seeing your stuff. They are not. Facebook is pushing for you to boost your posts, for you to run ads, and they're doing that by deliberately limiting how many people are seeing your stuff. But if your content has high relevance, when it's at a very small level, then they will help you to blow it up. The Bible says that those who have a little and they do well with it, they can be trusted with more and they'll be given more. So you want to just keep that biblical principle in mind. Again, it's a wisdom nugget. If you can be faithful in a small thing, you can be entrusted with more. And that's kind of how Facebook relevance score works. And if you have a low score, your friends, if your friends aren't interested, then Facebook is not going to feel like your content is worth showing to anybody else. So that is pretty much it for me today, guys. I really wanted to just share with you today that we really do need to look at the metrics. We do need to use the data as a way to illuminate the path rather than support our current position. What do we need to tweak? What do we need to shoot for? What do we need to test? And after testing, what do we need to keep? Okay, so that means you're going to monitor your growth. Again, whatever isn't measured won't be managed. So you want to monitor that growth. How can those analytics support your growth over time? Okay, you really want to do that. So we're cracking the code, guys. We're cracking the code on how social media analytics can help to skyrocket or influence. Trudy Bierman here. If you are interested in sharing your content on television, please, I'm your girl, and you will have your show on my Netflix-like Roku channel on PSI TV. And then I will pull that content out, and I will, because I'm working on my influential reach on all these various platforms, right, guys? And then it's going to be a YouTube show as well. We're going to take the audio, push it out to 6 podcast platforms. We're going to post it to Facebook and LinkedIn and all of that stuff. So if you're interested, I will put a link to what it means to work with me. A lot of you may need to do a step before that, because, oh my gosh, the pitches that some of you are sending are like, oh, you're not even going to be in the ballpark. So if that's the case, you may also want to consider my media challenge, which preps you to get received well by all sorts of platforms, podcasts, television, stages, webinars, summits, all that kind of stuff. If you're hoping to have a presence and appearance on all those and borrow their audiences, you probably need to ramp up your pitch game and your digital media portfolio that you share with them. Trudy Bierman here. It's now on the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, let me know where you're watching this from. What part of the world are you seeing this? I truly want to know how far this video is going. Where in the world are you? Share with me in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I look forward to catching up with you next week this time.